back to the business. Meets back to the trenches. You ain't even got a mention. I got vision. I got vision. Meets back to the business. Meets back to the trenches. You ain't even got a mention. I got vision. I got vision. I got vision. What? I got vision. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Friday Night Live. I know it's been a couple of weeks now since we've been live on a Friday, especially after the March Madness coverage we had. I am joined by JT and Uncle Juice once again in the Self-Made Sound Studios, proudly brought to you by Hybrid Promotions. How are you guys doing tonight, and how are you feeling about this summer weather finally starting to kick off?
Well, I got a preview of it. I just got back from Las Vegas. Went to WrestleMania again with my cousin. So it was in the 80s. Most of the time I was there. So I already got a little preview of it. But yeah, man, it's nice, man. You get to see the women in the sundresses. You know, everybody's out trying to enjoy the sunshine. And it's been good, man. I got to see Brock Lesnar get retired at WrestleMania. That was pretty cool. Greatest combat sport athlete ever, in my opinion. So that was pretty cool to get to see live.
Yeah, I guess I hate to derail the show right away, but yeah, I was meaning to ask you, Juice, what you thought of WrestleMania. I didn't get a chance to watch it this year, but it sounds like that maybe it wasn't the greatest WrestleMania, but obviously I wasn't there. So,
well, the thing is, like, there's watching it on TV, and then there's actually being there. Like when you watch it on TV, I guess it was a lot of commercials and a lot of downtime. But actually being there, it actually makes it a little more convenient. You can run, go get some snacks real quick, go to the restroom. The lines are real short. So it's like anything. It's got its pluses and its minuses. So I haven't watched it back on television. It usually takes me a couple weeks to watch it back on TV, but there's being there and then there's watching it on TV. When you in the crowd, none of that stuff kind of matters. But when you at home and you paying to watch it, I get it.
Yeah, it just sounds like that maybe people weren't that impressed with the booking, like that Reigns Punk was just a bit of a spot fest, but obviously I haven't gotten a chance to check it out yet.
That was probably the best match. I think the biggest indictment was it was a lot of commercials. It was a lot of TV time spent that could have been spent more on the wrestling. A lot of the matches got like 8 to 10 minutes, but Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns. My man's gonna get 30 minutes to cook regardless of what's going on in the company. I thought it was a pretty good match and the crowd was lit. And it was actually a lot more people than I anticipated.
Where do they have that at? Is that T-Mobile?
Yeah, it was in Las Vegas again. They had it at Allegiant Stadium.
Okay.
There. Yeah, I've been there. I've been to Allegiant Stadium. This was my third time. They have excellent facilities there. My only grievance is you can't pay with cash, and it's Las Vegas.
Well, and beers are also $18.
That too, but I mean, I spent $24 for 2 beers in Dallas. Like it don't matter, bro. When it's hot and you thirsty, you gonna pay what you gotta pay. Yeah. If a dude's got it right there, $24 for 2 beers, I walk right to my seat. I'm good.
Yeah, I don't know if you found yourself in the same camaraderie when I was in Arlington a couple years ago for the Big 12 championship, but you find yourself making friends with people that you've never met, and you're like, hey, do you want a beer? Do you want a beer? Like, I'm going to get beers right now. And then suddenly like a $12 beer tab turns into like a $50 beer tab. But, you know, the nice thing with a lot of those people is if you're there, you got at least a little bit of money so you can kind of see sort of a return aspect on that. I'm just curious as to what the crowd was, you know, what the vibes of the crowd were like, I guess.
I mean, it's WrestleMania, man. We all a bunch of adults that get to be giant kids with pockets full of money for a week. So, everybody's lit, man. They've been taking pictures with the wrestlers, buying championship belts. People let you take pictures with the belts. It's actually a really cool vibe, man. I got friends from the UK. I got friends from all over United States, Australia. Like, and I wouldn't have that if there wasn't a place where we could all come together, basically be 9-year-olds for a week.
What was your favorite moment of the weekend?
Probably just seeing Obafemi. That's the new guy that they got. That's the guy that beat Brock Lesnar. With me having my nephew recently, it's important for you to grow up and see people that look like you, accomplishing big things. So for him to, he basically tightened up Brock Lesnar for like a whole month before the pay-per-view. So a lot of people were thinking he was gonna lose and maybe he would retire Brock at SummerSlam because it's in Minnesota and Brock's close to Brock's hometown. But Brock Lesnar has been in this sport since like 2002. He's won a UFC championship. He was the NCAA heavyweight champion. Like he gets to go out on his own terms. I actually got my Brock shirt on tonight. The evolution of the suplex.
Hey, shout out to the Brocks of the world.
Yeah, it's so many dudes named Brock now because of this dude. Like our quarterback's name is Brock. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy because like in 5 years, 10 years, you're gonna meet a bunch of dudes named LeBron. Like it's crazy how the world works. But yeah, it's important to see people that look like you getting accomplishments. So it was a short match. Brock, he's not the type of dude to be in the main event no more. He wants to get his match done and go get a steak. And with 60,000 people in Vegas all at the stadium, he's got the best traffic to go get that. So took off his boots and his gloves and went to go get his steak.
I think it was because was WrestleMania in Indianapolis, like whichever PLE was in Indianapolis, which I think it's God, what was it was John Cena when he started his retirement tour. You could actually see like on Flight Tracker, you could see Brock Lesnar's private jet like leaving Indianapolis like half hour, 45 minutes after the match. So yeah, that guy just likes to get in, get out. He's strictly business. But yeah, for the guy that beat him, that's there isn't a bigger kind of bump that you can get from WWE creative than getting the chance to put over Brock Lesnar. So obviously they're putting the rocket on that guy. So we'll see. I can't claim I'm that familiar with him. Obviously, I've been a little out of the wrestling game in the past couple of months, so not that familiar. But they must think the world of him if he's gonna retire Brock Lesnar. That's pretty big shit to do.
Like basically, if you ever seen Black Panther, his character is basically like M'Baku from Black Panther.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I guess the one thing I want to ask you for the non-casual wrestling fan is I found out that like the X before like the final takedown is had and they lose, it's like a legacy type deal.
Well, with Brock, it was he usually they throw up the X to let you know that they're injured. Like if somebody like breaks
or it's something real, right?
Like, yeah, I mean something real.
So with Brock, I don't think he talked to Paul about what was gonna happen before the match. So when he threw the X up, that was him letting Paul know, like, this is real. I'm really retiring. This is it type shit. Because Paul Heyman's been with him, since the beginning. Because Brock Lesnar's he's not a talker. So, Paul Heyman talks up the fight, and then you see this giant, massive man, and it all makes sense. So, shout out to Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman. WrestleMania was amazing. It's in Saudi Arabia next year. I'm not going to that. But they cover up their women, bro. They got too many rules for me. I can't crack with that. But rumor is they're going to be in Nashville
no alcohol either
when they come back. Yeah, no alcohol. You in the desert. You can't find water. Like, That sounds like bad business. But rumor
Well,
is they're gonna be in Nashville when they come back. So if they are coming to Nashville, or give me New Orleans like I was supposed to get this year, I want my beignets and my po' boys. I feel like y'all robbed me of that.
There you go. It's good stuff.
yeah, well, with that being said, I know we got a bunch of stuff we want to cover tonight. I guess I'll turn the floor to you guys on what you want to turn to first. JT, I don't know if you want to get the cycling news out of the way. I feel like we should maybe hold the NBA or excuse me, the NFL draft stuff here for a little deeper conversation. But
yeah, because the three cyclone topics are real quick hitters. We can kind of get them out of the way. We can start off with the Donovan Davis stuff. So kind of the big news in cyclone world right now is that Donovan Davis has one of the top recruits, like basically half the players that have ever gone to Iowa State in the Otzelberger area. He's from Wisconsin, so TJ has a chance to steal a recruit from some pretty heavy hitters in the area. If we switch to the graphic that shows his top 5 schools, obviously he's looking at Iowa State, he's looking at Iowa, looking at Nebraska, and of course the 2 in-state schools for him, Wisconsin and Marquette. So I guess really from everything that you're kind of hearing for the people that are involved is that Iowa State is currently the heavy favorite. For those websites that do the crystal ball, it sounds like that they're starting to throw some crystal balls towards Iowa State's way. And for those that knows what that means, that's a pretty big deal. That means this thing is getting pretty close to being locked in. So this would be probably one of, maybe not the best, but one of the best.
I think it's probably the best if we're gonna exclude Omaha Blue. I think it's probably the best recruit they've ever had. And if you go back and look at it with Momcilovic about 3 years ago now, who at this point it seems like is not coming back to college, and he has firmly put himself in the NBA draft, especially with some of the guys that have come back or announced that they're coming back before him. This guy to me seems like someone that is. It could be another 3-year player, which we're not used to at Iowa State, but we'll get into some further details about the Otzelberger era here later. But I'm just curious to hear, where you think he stands as like someone that's ready to go. I would say a la Jamarian Bateman or like a Killian Torrey last year.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if they're able to, if he's able to jump in it like that. I mean, if you kind of think of kind of who, I mean, I guess he'll be kind of fighting for Singleton, kind of Trey Singleton for some, for his playing time, depending on kind of how that works with Singleton. Obviously, Singleton could end up being an NBA guy himself. So. Yeah, I don't know if we'll see that impact right off the bat. I guess this is a class of 27 kids, so we certainly got some time before that's going to be a factor with the transfer portal and everything. Who knows who's going to be on Iowa State's roster in 365 days? But yeah, I guess don't want to put the cart before the horse too much, but it seems like that Iowa State is looking good here. I did pull it up. It looks like John McNamara from Badger 24/7 has a crystal ball for Iowa State, and then the hometown writer Alex Bussey with Cyclone Alert has a crystal ball for Iowa State as well. So that's a pretty big deal. I think I was getting a little worried there with Iowa, kind of
with
unfortunately
St. Ben McCollum, friend of the program would always
Ben
call
McCollum.
him.
Friend of the program, yes. I think I assumed even though they're separated in class by 1 grade, obviously, Iowa got their own crown jewel by poaching Jaden Kuhn from Creighton, the Storm Lake kid. So that was a pretty big get for Ben McCollum, but maybe hurt them a little bit in the Donovan Davis sweepstakes. So I guess maybe we can break this. he's going to make his announcement on May 6th. So obviously by the next time that we have our show, we should know where Donovan Davis is headed. And like I said, it sounds like it's going to be Iowa State. We'll see if that holds. I think, obviously in the NIL era, really kind of what we're looking at is anytime you're up against a Big East school like Marquette, you never know when they might be able to throw a bag at these guys. But hopefully, especially with these high school recruits, they can kind of see the forest through the trees where, maybe Marquette is able to get you $1 million more than you would get in Ames. But obviously, I think the track record with TJ Otzelberger sending guys to the league speaks for itself. And I think there's a long-term goal there where, sure, I can make a couple more $1 million at Marquette, or I can go to Iowa State, develop like a proper player, and look what Tyrese Halliburton's making in the NBA right now. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Juice, I kind of got a question for you based off of that. Obviously, Fred Hoiberg coached at Iowa State for 7 or 8 years. You guys have almost an identical professional pattern with some of these guys and the way they play. I'd be curious to see what Hoiberg's pitch to this guy at the last minute would be. Like you said, JT, it seems like it's a crystal ball to Iowa State. We just watched what happened 3 weeks ago in the transfer portal where they went 5 for 5 on their targets within 48 hours almost. Juice, I don't know how much you know about this Donovan Davis kid, but I'd like for you to at least give me a synopsis of a scenario where he might go to Nebraska to play for a former Iowa State coach that essentially runs the TJ Otzelberger system, just maybe a little differently when it comes to offense.
Well, if I was pitching to this young man, I would basically just be like, look at Nebraska athletics where we were maybe 3-4 years ago and look at where we are now. Our volleyball team is sold out the stadium. Our
football stadium, by the way, don't try and sweep that under. Don't try and sweep that under the rug. They sold 95,000 tickets to a volleyball game.
To a volleyball game, which I believe is a Guinness World Record. So,
yes, it is in all women's sports and nearly almost anything outside of football. It's up there outside of football in the top 5.
That would definitely be my initial pitch. Secondly, I would have definitely had him at the spring game because to see that many people in Nebraska as we still got half the state almost down in Houston, celebrating the basketball team. Look how much camaraderie that you have in this state. Look how big of a deal you'll be in this state. You got people literally splitting between one thing or another just to support everything. And then, to get a plug and play player basically that can play 3 years after NIL, after COVID is a blessing. So I would just basically be like, what they started at Iowa State, I'm the man who started it. So, I've been in the league. I've coached top players. I've coached Derrick Rose. Whoever was your favorite player in the last 10 years, I've coached him or I've coached against him. So if you want to get to that level, look at what we doing now. We already breaking records. We doing new things. We getting further in the tournament.
21-0.
Yeah, like you can be a part of all of that. And if you want to be here for 3 years, I guarantee you probably ain't gonna find too many places where you're gonna be a bigger deal and have more fun than Lincoln, Nebraska at the same time. Because big man on campus is a real thing here.
Yeah, JT, I'm gonna use that to kind of move into the NBA Combine here. Oh, excuse me, wrong graphic. Here we go. Momcilovic and Joshua Jefferson getting invited to the NBA Combine. To me, this tells me that Momcilovic has no plans of coming back to college. And Juice, I kind of want to bring you in on this here, since you're kind of more the NBA expert between the three of us. Where do you see a guy like Momcilovic falling mid first round being the best spot for him, or maybe even a late first round? My thought the other day would be like someone like the Thunder, who would pick super late, where his only job is to spot up, maybe dribble once, and knock down a three.
Well, this is the era of the cheap big man. Like everybody wants a Wembanyama, but they don't want to pay a lot of money for him. So anybody coming in over 7 feet tall who can hoop, who's got a little bit of
Well, he's 6'8".
footwork. Well, I'm just saying, just in general, like
Right.
this is the cheap big man. So with that being said, you can come in as a power forward and you can come in and dominate. He's got a nice skill set, and if he could be a late first round pick, or maybe even in the second round, because there's a guy who plays for Dallas right now who's a second round pick, and he's almost up there for rookie of the year. So in the
Yep.
NBA, it's a bit different. Like everybody focuses on the first round picks, but even if you can be a second round pick, go out there, show yourself, you get a new contract at the end of the year. Everybody else has to wait till their rookie contracts is up. So the NBA, like I said, with COVID and the NIL, it's making sports very weird. You're gonna see a lot of players getting drafted a lot older than you normally would have seen. But with that being said, you might get more of a Tim Duncan skill set with some of these players because they've been in college longer. They've had more time to tune in and do the fundamentals. And I think that's where he fits in. He's a very fundamentally sound forward. And I think that if he could get to, even if he could get to a team like Golden State, which is rebuilding, but they've got a young core. Like Draymond Green's not getting any younger, and with the two expansion teams coming, it's going to be a lot of room for a lot of guys to come in here and get a bag. So, with that being said, once the expansion draft comes, you can only keep like 8 players on the team, so you'll have a lot of spots and roster
Right. I
spots
didn't even think
coming up.
about that.
Yeah, so it's gonna make for a very interesting draft and a very interesting couple years just in general throughout all the sports. And just going from seeing people get drafted at 19, 20, 21 to seeing them be drafted 23, 24, 25.
Not even that. Yaxel Lindenborg, I think, is 27 years old. Just won a national championship at Michigan. And I don't know if you guys seen it. I'm sure we probably talked about it behind the scenes, but just when he gets asked in post-game interviews about this freshman that guards him, and he kind of gives off this fake laugh, like, oh yeah, they put a freshman on me. It's like, bro, he is 18 years old and you are
He's 17.
26.
Yeah.
You can
He's
actually get
17,
a rental
18 years old.
car. Yeah, you can get a rental car and you're still playing college basketball, trying to act like, oh, I can't believe this guy's guarding me. That's like,
Yeah.
that's like you as an 18-year-old going to the park and then having a 10-year-old guard you and being like, why would you put this guy on me? Like,
Well, that's how it was when I was little, man. My oldest or one of my older cousins played for South High School, so him and my uncle would go to the gym down the street and just hoop everybody. And my uncle's a grown man; he's just throwing elbows and putting weight on you and doing layups and dunking on you. He's got a herringbone chain, and he's just letting you have it. Like that's the nature of the game. Like that's how you learn. That's how Lonzo Ball got to the league. You gotta play against people bigger, stronger, faster than you. It's just more in a microscope because like this dude is probably getting paid, at least a little bag to still be there. It's like you're a grown man. Like you should be working at a rental car agency or something.
Oh, you got a wife and kids. Like, you shouldn't be playing college basketball unless you're like a senior and your kid is like a year old and you just got married. Shout out to Taman Lipsy, by the way, who just went through at least a couple of those things as a senior in high school or college, excuse me. And you're seeing these guys that are 26, 27, 28, in a couple cases that have played 9 years of college basketball. Could you imagine JT and Juice if we had guys that could have played 9 years in the video game? Back in 2012, 2014, right before they stopped making the college games originally. Could you imagine if you had a ninth year senior? Like, that dude better be a 99 overall.
Could you imagine having Reggie Bush for 9 years?
Well, he would have to tear his ACL twice in the first game of the season to make that happen, and then maybe transfer at this point.
Like just think of like epic players that we've seen in college sports, and think about if they had the chance to just come back over
one more year.
Yeah. And it's getting bad, man. Like, that's what our generation is supposed to do. We, the generation, is supposed to hold on for one more year, one last glory. But like, cats in their 20s, man, they ain't giving it up. Everybody's on that Van Wilder lifestyle right now, man. I don't understand it. Well, it's gonna turn into a 37U situation, man. You're gonna have a kid in college with his dad at the same time.
JT, go ahead.
Yeah, and that kind of gets back to getting back around to it a little bit of just how these guys are liking to stick in college, and that's why I think why you might see Momcilovic stay in the draft. I saw a tweet. I didn't get a chance to verify it, but it sounds like there's basically like a record low players in the NBA draft right now. So obviously Momcilovic does have to make 27.
It's like 71 total players or something like that.
which is crazy. So
down
I think
from
that's obviously where you'll see.
346, like I think it was 346 maybe in 2021 or something like that.
Well, there's multiple reasons for that. Like, you can go to the G League now. You don't have to go to college at all. You can just go to the G League for like a year or two and get a bag.
Which would be foolish to do now.
A lot of players don't have the grades, so they'll just go overseas off the rip.
Grades? You think they care about grades anymore in college? Shit.
Well, I mean that's also a factor too. Like, I could be in college and I'm not that great, and I'm getting a little bag, or I could go overseas and start the process right now. Like, think about how much money Luka has before he even made it to the NBA. My man played like 10 years overseas. He's been playing since like
Plato.
15 years old. So that man's got a stack, incredible. And then when you got NIL, you had the COVID rules for a minute.
NBA's that's what fucked everything up was the COVID rules.
NBA's not trying to draft a bunch of 28-year-old dudes, man. Like, that's not the business that they're in.
Yep.
The NBA gets younger, stronger every year. That's what their business is. And COVID and NIL is kind of messing that up for them.
Yeah, and like I said, you're really seeing guys want to sticking. I don't know if you guys saw the thing, and I guess I don't want to get too accusatory because it involves injuries, but I thought it was kind of crazy where that guy for UConn, Solo something, whatever his name is, like he got wrist surgery like in April, like right after the national championship game, got wrist surgery and already is announced to be out for the next season, which I thought was kind of crazy. It's just it seemed like these guys are doing everything that they can to stay in college. And I don't know, maybe he's getting some crazy wrist surgery done, but basically this guy's saying that that's even April, the season starts in November. like a 9. I don't know. It seems a little
That's
fishy,
almost you're kind of pushing a year and 3 months recovery on that.
yeah.
And
If you're
then
That
not
just
doing it right
what
now.
point
shows
do
that he
you
wants to stay in college.
at what point do you cut bait if you're a school if he keep getting
Yeah.
injuries and he keep getting surgeries on your time?
Yeah,
Well,
it's an interesting point how that works, because I mean, I know that Iowa State dealt with that this year with Mason Williams, where they signed this guy in the transfer
yep.
portal last year. He ends up being hurt. I guess for
Knowing he came
whatever
in hurt.
reason, whatever reason he didn't take any NIL money after that was discovered. So I don't know if that was like a contractual thing or a goodwill thing. Because I'm sure it's not always going to be like that. Obviously, if some guy puts pen to paper and then he turns out to be hurt, he's going to want to get what the contract says he should get. So that's definitely an interesting thing that we'll start to deal with in the NIL era. As obviously teams can spend what they want, but obviously they budget, and they probably like to use most of that budget. So how does that situation work? So I'm very curious to see if there's anything you can do on the contractual side of things. I don't think you can, because you can't really tie it to performance, but it's a tough spot. It can be a really tough spot for schools and players.
I don't mean to pivot on you guys real quick, but just a quick sidebar. The Brendan Sorsby situation with Texas Tech, with the gambling treatment program that he just entered, and then the underlying thought that Cincinnati might have known about this and Texas Tech didn't know anything about this. Juice, I don't know if you're fully cut up on this situation, but Texas Tech basically paid $5 million for their quarterback who transferred from Cincinnati to the Red Raiders. And it just came out this last week that he's entering a gambling addiction program. More or less, the hottest flame coming off of this is that when he was at Indiana as a freshman, redshirt freshman, maybe a second or third stringer, maybe not even on like the quarterback depth chart, was betting on Indiana games. And then it's also come out that Cincinnati might have had prior knowledge to this beforehand of him transferring, and then now they're trying to sue him in a lawsuit for like $1 million that they paid him to get back.
Yeah, I don't think the lawsuit is gonna go through because, like,
oh no, not at this point.
I'm about to go into fucking gambling addiction shit, and I don't even gamble, bro. Like, every fucking time I turn on the internet or YouTube, it's either some type of gambling site or something for erectile dysfunction. And I'm like, that's why everybody's gambling, because y'all dicks don't work. I don't understand what's going on with the world right now, bro. Like, I've seen 17 ED ads today. I don't need them. I've seen 22 gambling ads a day. I don't gamble. I see Blake Griffin on TV more now than I did when this motherfucker played in the NBA, bro. Like, you can't escape it. So you're going to have more and more players who's going to start coming out with gambling addictions when you play a sport where you know ins and outs of the sport. You know who's faking shit. You know who's really injured, who's not. And then, like, at the end of the day, Vegas makes that call, bro. Anybody who sports bet, you've had James Harden for 36 points, and he'll get 32, and it's 5 minutes left in the game, and all of a sudden they sit him down. And then my nephew's over here like, they fucked up my parlay, huh? And I'm like, exactly, because Vegas made the call. They don't make them casinos. They don't build them stadiums out there of people winning bets, of people making money. So you're going to get NBA players, NFL players, college football players, probably college lacrosse
you're
players.
seeping into college with that now.
Like, probably college lacrosse players, the coaches. Like, if you really don't, this is the thing, don't peel back the curtain when you don't want to know what's on the other side. Like when you go to a homicide scene, there's a reason that they got a blanket over the victim. You don't just go up to the victim and just peel back everything and just see what's up. If you start peeling back the layers of this onion, so many coaches, so many players, so many.
Yep.
It's like the Epstein file for college football or for sports, bro. Like it connects to so many people and it's so grimy and deceitful. If we really start to break down who's doing what, you're gonna see coaches fired, you're gonna see players suspended, you're gonna see NILs rescinded. Like it's impossible to not want to gamble when every 10 minutes you see something about gambling.
JT, I'll let you go ahead and close this out before we move on here. We're kind of already severely over time.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I guess quickly on the Sorsby thing, I think it's a situation where like his camp needs to know what he's dealing with. I saw someone made a really good point that if your camp, if your people, if your agent, if your reps, whatever, knew that this was kind of hanging over and it could come out at any second, you got to cut bait and you got to put yourself in the NFL draft. Get the hell away with the NCAA. I mean, sure, you probably don't get drafted very high, 4th, 5th, 6th round draft pick, but you at least have a chance to kind of recoup your career instead of kind of going down the Hunter Deckers route, which is really probably what's gonna happen with him.
Yep. And I guess on a final note of that is what do you think the odds are that nobody in his circle knew that this was happening? Or do you think that I mean, come on, dude, it's 2026. There's no way you can sweep this under the rug as like something innocent. The reports have come out that like he was at a Reds game one night betting pitch by pitch. And I guess I don't know what his accounts looked like, but if you're a college student and you're a quarterback that's making $2 million a year, like you can't find someone to give him like an extra $100 or whatever to make this bet, and it has nothing to do with me.
No, because I can make my bets on my phone now. They made it so simple.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I don't have to.
You
go
literally
to the
couldn't
casino.
sit next to someone and be like, "I'll give you $100 right now to bet $100 on this," and it won't have anything to do with me. Granted, Iowa and Iowa State got kind of caught up in geolocation, but this to me doesn't seem like it's a geolocation. It seems like it's straight up Brendan Sorsby betting account.
See, it's hilarious because my cousin Gene, he's like my big brother. He still goes and bets at the same place he used to bet before sports gambling was legal. And his sons would be like, Dad, why don't you just go to the casino? Why don't you get it on the phone? He's like, I've been betting like this since I started betting. I'm going to be betting like this until I stop betting. And you know what? The only person who's got a paper trail for him is the bookie at the place. And I guarantee you he's just a number there. When, like you said, it's 2026. We have access to this thing on our phone. But also, you got to remember that gambling, just like alcohol or anything else, is an addiction. And when people have addictions, they go through all types of loops and hoops to hide that shit from you, bro. So I'm sure there were points where it was obvious that he was doing this and people probably said something, but I'm sure it was points where he was doing this shit and nobody knew nothing about it. Because when you go home and you turn that door into that front door into a wall, whatever you do on the other side of that wall, nobody else knows about. And like my grandpa used to say, everything you do in the dark gonna come to the light. These kids are too stupid to realize, yeah, it's easy to access this because it's on my phone, but this phone is linked to an account that leads to a digital paper trail.
Well, it's not only that, it's that he's a college student to a certain extent. I mean, you could argue some of these college football players are semi-pro professional athletes with how much they're getting paid and everything else. Granted, there still are genuine players out there that don't act like this, but there's still going to be guys that fall into this category of, hey, I'm making $2 million this year. What's to say that, I'm not going to have some fun and do this and that. And the whole Sorsby thing is, I think what's really going to kill him is that he was betting on Indiana games as a freshman redshirt that he did not play in at all and was betting on them to win those games. I mean, if he wants to bet on the Reds, the Cincinnati Reds, pitch by pitch, whatever, bro. Like, you can do that, but the biggest thing is you can't bet on your own team to either win or lose a game.
Then why don't they tell you that when you go in and put in your bet?
Oh, well, because they don't know that they don't know that you're the third string quarterback for Cincinnati. They just look at the name and they go, "Hey, he deposited $100. He wants to put $100 on this game."
Hey, that's why you don't climb Mount Everest with roller skates on, bro. It's a slippery slope. Life is full of slippery slopes, bro. Like, give me $2 million at 19 years old.
Oh, I'll shut the fuck up. I will shut the fuck up if you do that.
Uncle Juice to be sitting here right now. No, if I did, I'd probably be 40 pounds lighter, and have all types of life issues and been in about 20 different rehabs. Like, we have to realize, like, you giving poor people a lot of money at one time, and not everybody's got an Uncle Juice to be like, hey, man, why don't you just go to the strip club and chill the fuck out this weekend? Or why don't you go do something else on this? No, everybody don't have people like that. So if you was to give either one of any of the three of us $2 million, not just at once, this is a year. So come on, man. That's too much money, dog. That's King Midas's gold. You can't give people that level of power. People don't have any self-control these days. Shit, back in my day, I didn't have enough self-control to have $2 million. I guarantee you, I'd have bought a Lamborghini
yesterday
or something
to have
stupid.
$2 million.
Well, now, I'm a little bit older. You give me $2 million, we're gonna flip that. I'm gonna have a house. I'm gonna get like 2 mediocre cars and a dog and stack the rest of that up in some Bitcoin or something. But when you 20 years old, you think this dude's investing in Bitcoin? You think no, man. This dude want to see the Reds play. He's sitting on the bench. I got to make this game interesting. So why don't I put $100,000 on my team in my own name on my own account? Because I'm dumb as shit.
That's the problem with this new generation. JT, do you want to close this out here before we try and thank some sponsors real quick and do some promo?
No, I think originally we started this off with the NBA draft with the combine situation. Obviously, Jefferson and Momcilovic invited. Kind of consensus I've been seeing is Jefferson late first, Milan early second, Taman Lipsey late second. So we'll see if that holds, and hopefully we can get 3 Cyclones drafted.
With 71 players in the draft, I think everybody's getting drafted.
We're going to have to circle back to that number here later in the NBA playoffs, because 71 players that have officially declared, and obviously a bunch of those guys are still reneging and going back to college because they can make more money in college than they ever could potentially with an NBA draft contract. JT, you make an interesting point with Momcilovic where he sits. If he falls into the right situation, that second contract for him could be anywhere between 110 to 150 million. As a sharpshooter, I hate to say it because I do not like this team right now, but he would be the ultimate cataclysm on like an OKC or, like a Celtic team.
I was just thinking Boston.
Or if you put him on the Spurs, like he would be almost the perfect late round draft pick. We'll get into kind of what the NBA draft might look like here in a little bit with our NBA playoff pictures right now. But real quick, I kind of want to get into thanking some of our sponsors with Self-Made, the label music, obviously hosting the studio spotlight for us, as well as Hybrid Promotions for presenting us to you. We want to bring you this little microcosm of a seismic wave we got coming up here on May 20th. Self-Made's own Brody One will be on this show. I apologize, I can't read this. I don't have my glasses on at the moment, but Brody One will be performing at Shammy's Pub and Grill on May 20th, his own solo act. So shout out to Brody One. Again, a big shout out to Self-Made, the label music, and Hybrid Promotions for being constant sponsors of this show and allowing us to bring you this content. Glizzy Fest a couple weeks ago was fantastic. Just want to give a big shout out to Nice Enough Entertainment for putting all that on, as well as all the artists from A, B, C to D. Great turnout for the entire event. I was out there Friday and Saturday night. I did not make it on Sunday, but it was packed in both venues, both nights that I was there. So shout out to Omaha for being able to pull up to those events and show some real support for the city and kind of give the music scene. I would say kind of giving the music scene the bump it needed for the 2026 season. So shout out to everyone involved with that. I guess with that being said, what are you guys looking at moving on to here at Juice? I know you want to get to the NFL draft. I'm going to kind of let you take the lead here on the biggest winners and losers. We can obviously get into the Rams Ty Simpson thing here in a minute, but I'm curious to hear who your winners and losers are in the draft this year.
It's crazy to say this, and I'm glad it's on record. The number one team with the best draft was the Cleveland Browns. That is shocking for me to say, but
Interesting.
they got Monken, who was the coordinator for the Ravens. So I think he's just bringing over a little bit of that Ravens juice. You know, they got some good wide receivers. They got some plug and play people. Now the only question is Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders going to start? I think we all know the answer to that, but we'll play the game. We'll play the game. Arizona, despite the fact that they're getting a lot of flack in their draft, I feel like Arizona had a very good draft. They got Beck for Miami in the third round. The only problem is you probably could have traded down to about 6 or 7 to get Love. Getting Love that early in the draft, you have to pay him $53 million guaranteed. So he's like the 5th highest paid, maybe the 3rd highest paid running back in the league already. And you know they're going to get that dude a workload that's out of this world.
So what I'm looking at right now is they are moving on from the James Conner experiment. Yes, and they are trying to get younger, essentially, because they've also moved on from Kyler Murray. Who's going to be their starting quarterback? Do you know?
It's going to be Brissett right off the bat, but Jacoby Brissett.
It's going to be between Brissett, Beck, who probably wanted to start, and then they have Garoppolo as well. So they're pretty cheeks. The Buffalo Bills, a lot of people are upset with their draft. I just gotta call it a spade, man. Like you got Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett, and it's 2026, bro. Like what we doing in that front office? If I'm Marvin or if I'm Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm trying to get up out of there as soon as humanly possible.
I'll tell you
Before
what you're
they
doing in
Larry
that. I'll tell
Fitzgerald.
you what you're doing in that front office. They're collecting checks and they're waiting to get fired at this point.
Mm-hmm. The Buccaneers, I think they had a pretty good draft. I also thought the Raiders drafted pretty well based on the fact that the cupboards were basically bare. My 49ers, we traded out of the first round, which I think was smart. I don't think there is going to be a lot of talent in this first round. Don't get me wrong. But if you can't get specifically what you're trying to get in the draft, it don't make sense to just to draft. And I think a lot of these players got drafted just because that was the dude that was on the board, and that's who slid to where they were. The Cowboys had an excellent draft. They basically drafted like 3, 4 starters off the rip. Getting Caleb Downs to fall to them was just completely insane. So I think the Steelers had an excellent draft. A lot of people are giving flack to the Niners and the Rams for our drafts for totally different reasons. A lot of people were saying that there was a lot of players on the table that the Rams could have got that would have had an immediate impact, and that Simpson is coming to play for a team that just had the reigning league MVP, and they told him that there is no timetable for him to leave. The last time this happened, I think, was like 1963. That player got drafted to the World Champions and ended up playing for the Bucks like 5 years later.
You know,
As
it's
far as the Niners, we seem to reach with our draft picks in like the first 3 rounds. Like the guy that we got, he played for Ole Miss. A lot of people say he would have still been on the board in the second, 3rd round. This dude is a plug and play Debo Samuels. Like he basically is a Debo clone. He's 6'2", he's 200 and some change. My man runs like a 440. So I'm gonna let Shanahan cook. I'm gonna let Lynch cook because we always seem to be a playoff contending team. So I'm just gonna let the GM do what the GM does.
JT. I'm really curious as to your thoughts on the Ty Simpson pick for the Rams at number 13 overall. I know the Packers, excuse me, the Packers organization over the last maybe at this point 40 years has knocked it out of the park with a quarterback that doesn't play right away. And maybe the coach is not the most supportive of the pick. God, excuse me. Jesus Christ. But just watching Sean McVay's post first round draft interviews with Les Snead kind of makes you think that he was 100% against this. I don't know if you've seen that from the Packers staff in the past when they decided to make a move. I know there's been a big talk about the Rams continuing to trade out first round draft picks to try and go get a big name. Do you think maybe they are following the Packers footprint and maybe they see something in Ty Simpson that if he sits behind Stafford for 2 years that he could emerge as a guy that they can get for cheap? Or I guess I open this to you as well, Juice. Do you think that they reached for him because McVay was clearly not happy about the pick they made?
Yeah, and I guess I saw McVay say some stuff like he had some maybe personal life situations going on. So I don't think I don't know. I just find it hard to believe that the front office would ignore the opinions of Sean McVay. when it comes to drafting a quarterback. I think that'd be kind of foolish. So I don't know. I could be wrong. But yeah, I mean, kind of you make some nice comparisons there to the Packers situation where, yeah, maybe they are kind of trying to find their Jordan Love. It is kind of similar to a Jordan Love situation where
Or an Aaron
maybe
Rodgers or a
maybe
Brett
not
Favre.
exactly sold on the pick, maybe thought they were reaching. So yeah, and obviously I think it's worked for the Packers where you have that guy sit for a year or 2 or 3 behind the veteran. You do lose the benefit of the rookie contract. You kind of miss out on some of the value. But I still think it's worth it to get your guy a quarterback. So I guess we'll have to see. I've never been terribly impressed with Ty Simpson, but I'm far from a talent.
I never was
evaluator,
either.
So we'll have to see what happens.
I think it was a situation where Ty Simpson was basically like going to be the second quarterback drafted in this draft, and
And he's on the
everybody
board at
knew that.
13.
Right, and he's on the board at 13, and I don't think that this was McVay's decision. I think this came from the general manager because from what I've heard, McVay wanted a wide receiver or a tight end. And later on in the draft, y'all ended up getting a wide receiver and a tight end. So I think it was a thing where this was considered like a value pick or like we have a pick that we can, hold in our pocket. So let's get this quarterback in the first round, which is you get the 4-year rookie contract and then the rookie option. So now this puts a 3-year window on Matt Stafford, in my opinion. And I think it's because of his back situation.
I think you get Stafford for maybe next year, and you're lucky to get him for a second year. I don't see Stafford going past the 2020 so it'd be 26, 27, 27, 28. I don't see Stafford playing in the NFL past 2028. And that's including the postseason. So, I mean, if he sits for 2 years and like you said, they were looking for a good wide receiver, the best wide receiver that was taken was Jordan Tyson. Maybe that's who they were hoping was going to fall to them. And
I think Stafford's going to play another 5 years, bro. Like the way that the modern NFL is, you can barely touch the quarterback. We've seen Tom Brady play till damn near 50. Don't be surprised if it's 2033 and Matt Stafford is still suiting up because he played a lot of years in Detroit and they sucked most of those years.
Hey, looking at this draft list real quick. How about Caden Proctor, the non-self-starter, proclaimed by Nick Saban, going at number 12 right before Ty Simpson. What if the Rams were to pick the non-self-starter? The former Iowa commit, decommit, recommit, non-commit, $750,000 winner in the Swarm lottery.
I'm gonna tell you
the
crazy shit ever. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish, bro. My man had a rocky start, he figured it out. My man was a first-round pick, and there have been first-round picks who were complete nutcases. You remember that dude who got drafted to the Dolphins and then became a preacher and quit football immediately and then went to the Vikings and quit again?
Who the hell was this?
It was back in the day. I want to say like the 2000s. He was like a defensive lineman. Yeah.
Why was Ricky Williams the first name that came to my mind?
He quit the day after the draft. Like God told him to be a preacher. And then he came back like a year later because God told him he was broke. So, let's not act like this dude is the most egregious dude to go in the first round. I could tell you some first round stories. You'd be like, and they drafted that dude? You'd be like, yeah. Because talent oversees everything. Randy Moss once said, I play when I want to. He's in the Hall of Fame now.
JT, do you have anything else you want to add here to the NFL draft? We gotta hit it. We gotta hit the NBA here before we get out, and we're already over time. So
yeah, I'll just say real quick, just a quick winner and a loser. Obviously, I mean, I know they can be a bit of a punchline, but when you have 3 first-round draft picks, I think you got to consider yourself a winner, and that's of course the New York Jets. So, um,
Yes, two
I think
top 10
that's
picks.
impressive. So, and then I guess obviously I do think that Arizona was kind of the loser. Obviously, Juice, you kind of pointed out just the amount of money. It's kind of like a Saquon Barkley situation where obviously Saquon Barkley is a really good player. But is that really what you need at that time, at that slot for that kind of money, for that kind of contract, and then ending up just getting Carson Beck as your quarterback? So I realize there really wasn't a quarterback option at that slot, but it feels like they could have done a little bit better to, like you mentioned, maybe trade down to at least not pay the running back quite as much. So those are the quick hitters I had on winners and losers.
Yeah, I don't think any other team in the league would have picked him at 2.
I can't believe that. That's nuts. We watched what he did in the national championship game, and it's not the first time he's done that. He's done that in multiple big games over his entire career.
It's a slippery slope, man. Like you get him to be in a division that is the hardest division in football, and you know this dude is about to get all the carries, all of them. 350 carries rookie season, bro. That's your 53 million.
I'm not drafting him in the top 7 rounds. If he falls there in round 8, and I need a pickup running back, he might be the guy.
Running backs is a weird value because nobody values running backs until it's December. Then everybody's gotta have a good running back.
This is very true.
As soon as it's snowing, you better have somebody who run that ball. Otherwise, you're gonna be sitting there looking stupid at home.
Yeah, but if you look at these top 10 teams here on this list, none of these teams, maybe other than the what are they? The Commanders, the football team, the Commanders. They're maybe the only team on this list that has a chance of even sniffing the playoffs, unless one of these top 10 teams kind of really surprises you.
You're not wrong. I mean, like, other than the fact that Kansas
You could
City,
argue
like,
the top
sitting there,
12. The only team that is guaranteed to make the playoffs right now, most likely, is the Rams at 13.
it's very true. It's a very strange draft, but then again, like I keep saying, like COVID and NIL is gonna make everything weird for the next 5 years. I guarantee it.
Yeah, they got the new NCAA 5-for-5 rule coming out. We'll hit that in the upcoming weeks. As far as what that could change for the landscape of college sports. But since we're over an hour right now and we gotta hit this final topic real quick. Juice, I know you wanted to get into the NBA playoffs, so we'll make the pivot here real quick. We'll start with the East. And
The East is super competitive.
The East, you know what's crazy is growing up, they told us the East was the weakest league because LeBron James went to the finals 8 times in a row. And now you look at the East and it's almost more competitive than the West.
Which is crazy because it was the opposite in the 90s. The East had all the beastie teams and the Western Conference was just waiting to get beat by Jordan.
And
yeah, I think it's beautiful. My Orlando Magic, we've been out here stepping up. We lost today, unfortunately, but I mean, for us to be 3 games in with the Detroit Pistons, who everybody had seemingly anointed as the next Eastern Conference champions, I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at this graphic I have up right now, the Knicks are the only team to have officially advanced. I guess I can't give you an update on the Cavaliers and Raptors. I haven't looked at my phone since we started. But the Knicks,
last I seen, it was a 2-point game. I think the Raptors were up. They trying to push that to 7 because they don't get too many 7-game series for Toronto.
And the Magic have pushed theirs to 7 games, I believe, right?
Yes, sir.
So you got at least 1 game 7, potentially 2 game 7s. You got 3 down here at the bottom with the Celtics and the 76ers. The Celtics are just totally wiping themselves off the map. I seen a tweet today. I thought you guys would both enjoy. The Celtics have too many whites on their team.
Correct.
Their 4 bench
had a-
players are white guys. With another dude that's like of white descent. They have a white starter, and then they also have Derek White, who is very much not white, but his white is in his name. That's too many whites on a roster in the modern day.
I had to go to my big cousin to figure out what was going on with the Celtics. I said, fam, what's going on with Boston, man? Like, they were so good for so long. Danny Ainge was cooking. What's up? He goes, well, they got a new owner, and my man is a billionaire, and he wanted his money back immediately. So he started fire selling the team. And just immediately getting rid of any contract that wasn't Tatum, Brown, or like one other player. So
Weird.
everybody else was just for sale because he wanted his return on investment like immediate. So that's why the Celtics are just a bunch of white dudes and they are getting cooked by the Sixers, which makes no sense to me. Like you had the Celtics you had the Sixers well in hand.
No, they were well in the bag. There was a 3-1 at one point.
Yeah.
They might be the second or third team in NBA history to come back from 3-1.
I'm like, Joel Embiid is like the next LeBron. Like, what the hell is going on, man? How are y'all getting cooked this vociferously? It's a barbecue chicken alert in Boston right now, and nobody's happy about it.
Yeah, and that game is in Boston. I believe is that tomorrow night or is that Sunday night? I don't know how the NBA is gonna work this out, but they're setting themselves up for like 4 or 5 potential game 7s right now.
These games literally been going like day after day, man. Like it's been so hard to keep up with them because I'm like, okay, LeBron's getting somebody eliminated or trying to eliminate these people today. Okay, Rockets keep winning. Okay, then they're supposed to get no, we're gonna win too. No, we're supposed to win. No. But this is exactly what the NBA needs. The NBA's ratings are down so terribly that they need everything to be.
That's true. It is also kind of funny. Some of the new age memes that are coming out of this. The Chris Paul hitting a big 3 down by 45 to cut the lead to 42, or to cut the deficit to 42, has officially been retired. I can't remember who it was for the Hawks, but he hit a big 3 to cut the lead from 61 to 58 or something the other night. I heard JT, friends of the program, Murph and Andy today, made a mention that the score at one point in the Knicks and Hawks game last night was 60-19, which was the score in Space Jam before they went to the kind of a coinky-dink little animation or whatever on the scoreboard, or said it's getting a little out of hand, ain't it? And then you have it was something Johnson. I can't remember who it was. I want to say maybe Jalen Johnson hits a big 3 to cut the lead to 58 or something at one point. The Hawks go on to lose by like 51 points. So they had clearly given up. And then you just got the upper punches coming here in the top half of this bracket. It's honestly kind of shaping up early enough for people that don't follow the NBA that this could be maybe one of the better postseasons coming out of the East. It's going to be a heavyweight fight. I guess before we move on here to the West, who do you guys see coming out of the East?
I think Cleveland looks really good. I can't put my faith in the Celtics. I can't put my faith in
Oh, I wouldn't
Toronto.
either.
Hey, there's so many teams I can't put my faith into. So I don't know. Maybe the Knicks, but then again, like at the end of the day, they've been the Knicks my whole life, and that I can't see that changing just because it's 2026.
Yeah,
So
I can't claim to know anything about this, but I'll certainly be rooting for the Knicks. I want to see them figure it out.
it'd be nice. Like I've been waiting since high school for them to be relevant again.
Juice,
So it'd be nice.
let's not forget they had it in the bag last year. They literally had it in the bag against the Pacers until
New York got a New York.
until Tyrese Hercules came out and hit those miraculous shots. Like almost, it seemed like it was every series he hit a shot last year. And by the way, the Pacers are going to have a top 4 pick. They could easily end up with the second 2 guard that they traded away in, I believe it was Benedict Mathurin they traded away this year.
My boy Halliburton had that. Have you seen the movie Him? He had that Reggie Miller serum.
That was one of the best runs ever for a player I've ever seen. And the fact that he tore that Achilles after watching those first 3 shots that he hit, you could tell he was hyped up, ready for a big game. That was just JT. That might go down as one of the most heartbreaking experiences as an Iowa State fan to watch ever, even though it wasn't an Iowa State team. But just knowing what he had been doing for the last 6 to 8 weeks at that point, I think there was maybe 5 or 6 games where they were down by double digits in the final 5 minutes. A couple of games they were down by 20-plus points in the last 4 minutes, and they happened to come back to win those games on miraculous bullshit shots by Halliburton.
He was low key like in like an NBA Jam type mode for
Yes.
like all them games, bro. Like there was games where they should have been cooked from almost the opening tip, and then all of a sudden
that shot against the Knicks,
Reggie Miller. He just got that Reggie Miller serum, man. When Reggie Miller is inside you, and you play for the Pacers, no Diddy, in the Garden, you have to let every Knicks fan have it all night long. That's the spirit of Reggie Miller, bro. I remember watching that game when Reggie did that to the Knicks in real time, man. Like, it's some people out here, like, they sit in their driveway and just shoot set shots. And I believe Halliburton is one of them dudes. Like, even in the booth, I believe he's sitting in a chair shooting threes somewhere.
Well, I can yeah, we'll put a pin in the Halliburton talk, at least for this week. We got to get to the West so we can get the fuck out of here.
Yes, sir.
Pulling up the Western Conference. I don't know when the Lakers are probably playing right now from what I'm reading. But
yeah, I think they're playing right now.
We're pretty much all set on what the Western semis are going to look like. The Timberwolves upsetting the Nuggets. Anthony Edwards-less.
Let's go. My man beat Southport and the Nuggets.
Victor Wembanyama leading the Spurs to I can't see it underneath the banner, but I believe it might have been a sweep or a 4-1. The Thunder obviously sweeping the Suns. The Suns were competitive in that series. Devin Booker kind of making some headlines by kind of sliding the refs and outing the Thunder fandom within the referee community with the James Williams scandal.
Oh yeah, he's one of the last 3 with that Mamba mentality, bro. So he'll probably never leave Phoenix, and he's gonna be arguing until the day he dies.
And he's kind of one of those guys you'd really like to see at least win a championship. He came so close that year against Antetokounmpo and the Bucks. But can we just once again, for the 15,000th year, give Mr. LeBron James a shout out for dragging his team once again through a playoff series?
We got to give LeBron his flowers, man. Like, LeBron has done things that we will never see done ever again in the history of the league. Mainly play for 23 fucking years. So when it comes to LeBron, this man is an anomaly. They said that this man has 1% body fat and he is the same age as me. That is insane. When it comes to this Western Conference, we all just looking to see the Spurs of Oklahoma City so we can see Wemby school the shit out of Chet. Like, Wemby owns Chet, and I think it's gonna be like that their entire career. So everybody just wants to see the Spurs versus Oklahoma City just for that. Like, Wemby's been owning Chet since they were like 11 years old. Like, this is like a lifelong character arc with the two of these people. I think at one point Chet's gonna get over Wemby, and that's gonna be the big thing of his career. But
No.
I think you're gonna start to see that character arc, become a narrative. But Wemby he's something different, bro. Like, if you don't even care about
he's an alien.
He's
literally an alien.
You will watch the game just to see this. I never thought I would see somebody bigger and more skilled than Kevin Durant. Then they made this dude in a lab somewhere. It's like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He has a little
Durant
brother.
Had a baby. Jesus Christ, man.
There's another Wembanyama that's coming up in the next couple of years.
I've never been more scared of a child in my life. As so should the entire NBA. Like, this dude is an anomaly, man. Like, he's somebody you create on a video game. He's not a real person.
No, he's not. And
like, he's like the skinwalkers in Men in Black. Like, you remember Men in Black, the dudes who put on the skin and pretend to be human? That's Wembanyama.
And just to give everyone an update real quick, the Lakers are currently up by 20 points on the Rockets with 3:46 to go. So it looks like it's going to be the Thunder and the Lakers, the Timberwolves and the Spurs in the Western Conference semifinals. The one thing I want to say before I kind of close out my thoughts on this is it's weird that LeBron leaves the East and everyone says, oh, he held the East back for years. And then suddenly nobody's able to take a single grasp of the East from year in, year out. I believe I seen a graphic a couple of weeks ago. They gave 8 years of LeBron's, you lead this team to the finals. And then they, after that, they did the top player to lead their team to the finals in the East. And it was not a single person that was in that picture more than once. So
it's weird how we measure greatness, isn't it? It's very weird how we measure greatness.
And in the time being, it was like, whoa, well, he went, I don't know. He went 3-4 or 3-5 in the finals or whatever the fuck it was. And it's like, well, he's not great because of he could never win. He could never win. He didn't go 8-0 in the finals. Okay, well, when did MJ ever play the greatest shooting team of all time? When did he play the greatest shooting team of all time plus Kevin Durant? When did he play like what the 2012, 2013 Spurs were?
Teams have been built in the last 2 decades specifically
to beat LeBron James. Yes. And I'm tired of the narrative. Like, once he's gone, everyone's gonna feel so empty inside that have argued.
When he's gone, we'll get it. It's like when Kobe retired.
Yep.
Like you don't get it until they're not there anymore, and there's somebody.
I was a big Kobe hater for years. I was like, this dude, like he's annoying. Like I don't like anything about him. And then that last game against the Jazz when he put up 60, like I was sitting there watching that game live crying. Like, I was like, this is like the greatest thing I've ever seen. And he was playing for a team that won like 20 games that year. Like, they weren't even good.
It's because me and Kobe had the same birthday. He's a Virgo and a Leo. We can be the most hated and most loved people all in the same hour, bro. That's just a fact. Like, I can be the most villainous person you've ever met. I can be the sweetest human being you've ever met. That's that Mamba mentality. Like, people, you're born at the end of the summer, man. It cooks us on a different level.
JT, final thoughts here on the LeBron James jersey you sold me back in 2006 or 2007 that I no longer have, that I could probably jump off my balcony for not having anymore.
God, I forgot about that. I think I wore it to spring pictures in like 4th grade.
I think you did too.
I might have that picture on my phone somewhere.
I had a bunch of jerseys you sold. I had a Peyton Manning jersey I got from you, and there was another jersey, and yeah, I wore them too much, and my mom washed them too often, and then the lettering started falling off. She goes, "These things are garbage. Throw them away." Shout out to my mother, by the way. I'm not trying to hate on you.
Shout out Mom Dukes. But all right, fellas, I gotta get ready to roll.
We gotta. Juice, I'm gonna let you land the plane here tonight. Make sure you thank the presenting sponsors, and I'll let you close us out.
I'd like to say thank you for watching Friday Night Live, based on Hybrid Promotions. That is the sponsor. Please check out the show on May 20th for my Brody one. He will be doing his thing and in concert. Thank you for joining the show. We appreciate everybody who watches the show. And if you're watching live, be sure to like, comment, and do your thing in the comments. Thank you, JT, as always, consummate professional. Thank you, my man Slim. And we will see you next week with more Hybrid Promotions and more Friday Night Live.
Peace out.
Yes, sir.